Okay, so now moving on to the second part. So we've decided to favor going to Sea Life Park by $2.02. One of the most important decisions managers make is whether to blank or blank a business. So these answers are in the PowerPoint. We talked about what's relevant and what's irrelevant. So Cynthia going to New York, the cost of gas is relevant, but other costs like parking fees are not relevant. Same with our Sea Life Park example. And so we're evaluating the current situation to the new situation. And so now our decision, one of the most important decisions managers make, is whether to add or drop a business segment. And so that's what we're going to do, whether to add or drop a business segment. Level Company is considering dropping its digital watch segment. Level should drop the digital segment only if it's, so this is the rule of thumb when dropping a segment. So Level Company, they're thinking about dropping a segment, should drop a digital watch segment only if its profit would increase. Level will compare the contribution margin that would be lost to the cost that would be avoided if the line was dropped. Its profit would increase. Level would compare the contribution margin that would be lost to the cost that would be avoided if the line was to be dropped. Okay, so let's see what the individual words are here. Compare the contribution margin that would be lost to the cost that would be avoided if the line was dropped. Avoided. Yep. Okay. So that's what I would fill in the blank here, avoided and contribution margin lost. And so we can see that they're going to drop this income statement for digital watches, or they're thinking about dropping it. So we're doing a new scenario where they're going to drop it and looking at the change. So a quick way to do this would be to the contribution margin lost. So they said compare the contribution that we lost. So contribution lost is usually a negative number. It is a negative number because you're losing out on contribution margin. So contribution would be negative. And then, so that's your negative or minus. And then we add any any costs that would be avoidable costs. And that's usually fixed avoidable costs, avoidable fixed costs. So we're going to add those back, whatever we can save, and then that will give us our change from dropping a segment. Let's not underline that. Okay, so this is pretty much what we're going to be doing, or the shortcut for seeing just the change from dropping a segment, which could be a positive or a negative amount. We're increasing our profit or decreasing our profit, and we only want to drop a segment if the profit would be increased. And so if they're going to drop this watch segment, they're going to be losing out on $300,000 contribution margin. So I would do a negative $300,000. And then we need to understand which of these fixed expenses can be avoided. So I think we need more information. Oh, an investigation has revealed the fixed general factory overhead and fixed administrative expenses will not be affected by dropping the digital watch. The salary of the line manager, advertising, direct, and rent factory space could be reallocated to other product lines. What will be the effect on next year's profit if the digital watch segment is eliminated? So they can't control the general factory overhead and fixed general admin expenses. Those are going to be continuing on, or they won't change if they keep this segment or drop this segment. So those ones are not relevant because they're not affected, but they can save money or can avoid the salary of the line manager. So you wouldn't have to pay this person. Advertising, you wouldn't have to pay for advertising if you no longer had the product. But say, for example, the general factory manager had 5 different products. If you drop one, you're not going to just drop a fifth of that person's salary. You need to pay them the full salary no matter how many products are selling because they're a general factory overhead person. And so But the specific salary of the line manager, we can reallocate or avoid. Either fire that person or move them to a different department. And so the relevant cost here, general factory overhead, it's not going to be affected or is the same. So we cannot avoid this one. Salary of line manager, we can avoid. Depreciation of equipment, depending on if you can reallocate the equipment. They didn't say you can reallocate the equipment, so you're probably just stuck with that equipment. It's a sunk cost and you're going to be depreciating it over time. They said there was no other purpose, so this would not be relevant. You're going to have to depreciate that asset over time, no matter what. Advertising, yes, if we don't have to advertise that the product no longer exists. Rent on the factory space, they said, let's see, fixed general, the salary, yeah, I think this is, we can avoid, oh, here we go. Rent on factory space would be reallocated. So yes, we can save, that's an avoidable cost. And then general admin we cannot save. So the only relevant ones that we can save is the salary, the advertising, and the rent. So the salary, avoidable fixed cost would be, and then I'll show you this on the PowerPoint. So we said that these ones we can avoid, and so these ones are the relevant ones. Yep, these ones we can avoid. Here we go. There we go. There's the slide. And so we have the salary of the line manager, the advertising, and the direct. So contribution margin lost, and then less fixed costs that can be avoided. So these are the positive fixed costs that we can save, and so the net disadvantage, I would put 40,000 here.